If you are an investor of Kenya Reinsurance, here's the sad news for you. There was a decrease of 11.6% when it comes to the profit which Kenya Reinsurance made in the year 2025. In the previous year, that is 2024, the net profit which was made by Kenya Reinsurance was 4.4 billion Kenyan shillings. If you are interested in this kind of videos, remember to subscribe, like, and also don't forget to share. Now, for those individuals, I have been one of those individuals who has been shouting, sharing my thoughts when it comes to Kenya Reinsurance. I have been encouraging individuals to acquire shares of Kenya Reinsurance. But at the same time, you get kind of worried when a company continues to make the profit. They do make some profits, but it has been declining for the last 2 years, I believe. So what happened? From what I have read is that Kenya Insurance has been facing challenges when it comes to investing in international market. More especially the countries which were mentioned include Zambia and Cote d'Ivoire, which led to the decrease in terms of the profits and also the revenue which they ended up generating. One of the things which you need to be excited about is Kenya Insurance. They maintain the dividend which they are going to share out of 0.15 shillings per share, which totals up to 840 million Kenyan shillings. What I was astonished is the outstanding shares which Kenya Re has. That is the common shares which they have in the market. They do have 13 billion shares. Those are massive. This company need to do something and acquire some of those shares. They need to buy back the shares, at least to create some value for the investors. Now, what were some of the changes which happened which led to the decrease when it comes to the profits, the net profits which they made after taxes? Number one, the revenue decreased by around 9% from 18.9 billion last year, that is in 2024, to 17.1 billion Kenyan shillings. So there was a massive decrease in terms of the revenue which they generated, which must also be reflected on what went on when it comes to the net profit which they made. But on the positive side, the thing which got kind of increased is the amount of assets. Assets increased by around 16%, not 16, but by around 6% to around 72 billion Kenyan shillings. So it's massive. They are continually increasing the amounts of assets which the company possesses. But also, the negative side is the expenses continue to increase. The expenses increased by around 6% also to 11 billion Kenyan shillings. So that's also a challenging part. But as usual, if you are one of those individuals who has been doing some businesses outside there, you do realize that there are some things you as a business owner you are not in control of. For example, what we are observing, what is going on between the what is going on within the Middle East. Those things are going to impact Kenya and the whole world, whether you like it or you don't like it. You must be prepared when it comes to the profits which are going to be recorded at around 2027. There are going to be a lot of fluctuations when it comes to the profits which are going to be made by the companies which are listed in Nairobi Stock Exchange. So, are you going to quit those companies because they have been making some fluctuations when it comes to the net profits which they are making and also the revenues which they are going to be generated? I don't think so. But something which is kind of worrying when it comes to the Kenya is if these fluctuations are going to continue, then it should be worrisome for those investors who are interested to own these shares for a long period of time. But as an individual who is interested to be an investor in Kenya Insurance, I promise you I am going to buy those shares as time goes by. Because if you consider the assets which they have and the amount of liabilities which they have, then the company still remains in the wood shape. Investors should go ahead and invest. And as usual, if you are going to invest too late, then you are not going to enjoy the real profits which are going to be enjoyed by other investors. So probably if you are going to invest in Kenya Rail, this is the right time, because I realize individuals are going to free these shares more, especially after it has been declared that there was a decrease in profits which was made in 2025. I have observed that case with Safaricom. The individuals are kind of exhausted, but generally the market is depressed. Individuals are not excited of owning shares anymore. Probably they are adding to fixed assets, for example, the bonds. That's where individuals are probably shifting their attention to. But for those individuals, more especially if you are a young person, then there's no need for you going to fixed assets. You may own some, but if you want to build massive wealth, you want to build assets which are going to generate you revenue, then you should go ahead and acquire some shares in decent companies, for example, Safaricom. Safaricom, I believe the fluctuations happened because there was an interim dividend which was given out. So individuals, after receiving some dividends, they decided to flee. That's why the shares of Safaricom are somewhat fluctuating. The same case is also going to happen with Kenya Rail. Once those dividends are shared, I believe individuals are going to flee and these shares are going to decrease in price. So if you will be in a good position to have some resources after the dividends have been given, then you should go ahead and capture that wave. Anyway, I like your thoughts. What is your opinion when it comes to the Kenya Reinsurance? Are you interested to own that share, or those shares, or the fluctuations or the volatility which is being observed in Kenya Re? You cannot withstand the volatility. I mean, anyway, if you are interested in this kind of videos, remember to subscribe, like, and also don't forget to share. I am going to upload on a regular basis as it feels like. Thanks for watching. See you in my next one.